YouTuber Logan Paul causes stir. What's the big deal here? But watch this. As he gives financial advice to Gen Zs live on air. So let's see what this financial advice is on what he says that's causing so many people to be upset with this guy. His opinions on to Gen Z on live television and urging them to take bigger risks. The YouTuber star, 30 years old, pushed the younger generation to spend their energy in meaningful ways, even if they appear to go against the grain. I think if you have the money, don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young. Paul said on Tuesday on Fox Business Network's with Big Money Show. Paul is currently worth $150 million. He's best known for his content on YouTube, TikTok, but also known for Prime Energy drink brand, and has appeared as a WWE marquee wrestler. If you're young, there are ways to spend and invest your money in ways that might mean more to you than a traditional conservative investment, like the stock market. That could mean trading cards, artwork, sports memorabilia, like game-worn jersey attire, or even a piece of a dinosaur. His investment tips causes division on social media as users debated whether Paul's advice was prudent or irresponsible. By the way, do we have a video on this, on what he was saying, Humberto, or no? Is there a video there? If you do have it, let me know. Risk is fine, but Gen Z needs transparency and fundamentals. One ex-user wrote, not celebrity investing advice. Another weighed in, true, take the risk. Paul told Gen Z they should remain wary of their investment, even as they looked to beat the stock market. You got to be careful with what you're investing in, he said, or trade out of it. The celebrity entrepreneur's remarks came as he admitted to having a world record $5.3 million for a single Pokemon card. If you can't buy a home, you sure as hell can't be investing in Pokemon cards. Another ex-user said, get a Roth IRA before you go out and get Pokemon. This is ridiculous. Is this the clip, by the way?
Yeah.
Humberto, is this the clip? Go on and play the clip. Let's watch a few seconds of it. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Humberto.
Way to make money that's an alternative. Maybe it's not buying a home anymore. Maybe it's not the traditional stock market. What do you tell that group of young investors out there?
I think if you have the money, don't be afraid to take a risk, especially if you're young. Young people have a ton of energy. I had a lot of energy when I was younger. I'm 30 now and I'm Unc and I have a daughter. I'm a dad. And so I have way less energy. But if you're young, there are ways to spend and invest your money in ways that might mean more to you than a traditional conservative investment like the stock market. Whether it's a trading card, a piece of art, a piece of a dinosaur, like a sports memorabilia, game worn.
But so, Adam, where are you at with what Logan Paul is saying here?
Well, listen, don't take advice from anybody that hasn't done it. And Logan Paul has done it. You know, you can criticize the guy all you want, his this, his that. The guy's worth over $100 million by the age of 30. Unheard of. So the guy talked about risk. Now, listen, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So everyone who's young should understand what risk tolerance is, asset allocation, what you're investing in, and your time horizon. These are basic fundamentals of finance. I got to give the Paul brothers credit for betting on themselves when they were teenagers and saying, listen, let's risk it for the biscuit. And if we can turn out to be these massive influencers or boxers or celebrity boxers or WWE champions, whatever it ends up being, let's go for it. And worst case scenario, you're 25 and you just start a real career, or you're 30 and you're starting over, especially for young men. Young men see what's going on in society. They see the Jake Pauls of the world, the Logan Pauls of the world, all these celebrities that are making all this money. There's a few and far between. But if you bet on yourself, take the risk, you'll be 25, 30, and you still have tons of time. So would I say that the number one thing you should do is go out and get a Pokemon card? No. Go out and get a Roth IRA. Go out and get a 401k. Save that cash, stack that money, save that money. But once you do that and you have a foundation, sure, take a little bit of risk. And by the way, last point, it's not just risking money. You also go risking time. There's something called ROI, return on your investment, but there's something called ROT, return on your time. So you can do both. If you don't have money, dedicate your time. So you can do it either way, but at the end of the day, save that money.
Tom, I have a lot of thoughts on this here, but I'm going to come to you first, Tom.
I happen to think that
Look, Logan Paul's talking about two things. One is classic investment theory. You can make mistakes when you're younger that you can't afford to make when you're older. You've got time. So that is a time-tested true. If you would look at modern portfolio theory and people just look that up, it'll tell you, hey, take your age, take 100 minus your age is the percent you could have in stocks. There's a lot of techniques. So there's a core thing he's right about. I'm not going to weigh in on collectibles or this or that because one person's expertise isn't necessarily the whole world's expertise. A lot of people jumped in on Bitcoin that didn't know what they were doing, and they try to trade in and out rather than hold and wait for gains, and they get scared by the news, and then they're sideways. And so, in terms of asset classes, I'm not really there with Logan Paul, but what I am with is the philosophy of you can make mistakes when you're young, but we shouldn't teach our people to be impulsive or foolish with their decisions and their money.
Tom, great feedback, and I love the fact that there's opposite ideas here. Here's what I would tell you: the best way to find out what the risk tolerance of your kids are between ages of 10 to 17 years old is play Monopoly with them. You will learn after 3 hours which one of your kids likes cash and is afraid to take risks, which one of them takes risks. And by the way, don't teach them anything. Just test them out. You'll see. You'll say, oh, wow, this kid is super risky. I'll buy this. I'll buy that property from you. I'll buy this property. Give it. I'll buy this. Let's trade this. I'm like, what? No one's buy. Boom. All of a sudden, they land on someone's hotel bankruptcy. They're out of business. Or they go to a hotel. They get that $500. That's now $800. They build hotels. And next thing you know, they dominate and destroy everybody. Everyone has a certain risk tolerance and temperament. My dad is unbelievably conservative. Unbelievably conservative when it comes down to his investments. Everything is cash. I don't think the man has ever owned a house. My dad has never owned a house ever. He's 83 years old.
Wow.
He's never owned a stock. He's never owned a life insurance policy. He's never owned a Roth IRA. He's never owned anything like that. He's never owned. And by the way, he's had his driver's license here since 1984. One time a cop pulled him over. He got so upset at the cop for pulling him over. He says, you cannot pull me over. He says, what do you mean, sir? I'm pulling you over. He says, I've never broken the law. My dad doesn't have a single speeding ticket or a ticket period red light since 1984 when he got his driver's license. Now his son on the other side, he's got 25 speeding tickets. My license was suspended twice in my early 20s. I don't know how many red light tickets I got. It's very different. So now my sons, when we drive, one of my sons is like, Dad, step on it, step on it. And my other son's like, Dad, speed limit, you're going above 35. So, no, a part of that is you. A part of it isn't you can force it. You can increase a little bit of your risk tolerance or not. Here's where I'm at. I went so aggressive in my early 20s that I found myself being $49,000 in credit card debt at 24 years old, 25 years old, with Galpin Ford trying to come and find my Ford Expedition because I would park it a mile away because I had to make a car payment for 3 months because I lost everything. And I would make phone payments on Nextel, $43 payments because that's all I had. And I would negotiate with Nextel to turn on my phone for 4 days so I can sell stuff because I was a financial guy. I was an insurance guy. I needed my cell phone. And that's how I made it. I risked, and then eventually it turned out to be a big return. I've made the big art purchases or collectible cards and all that stuff that worked in my favor. I would say, like yesterday, my son and I were talking, and I said, Dad, when did you start liking stocks? I said, I'll never forget what happened to me. One time I put $2,000 or some number like that, small number, into a Nike stock at $27. He says, what happened? I said, it went to $41. No way. Yes, and how long? Less than a year. I said, I looked at my E-Trade portfolio. This is back in the days. And I'm like, oh my God. The $2,000 turned into $3,200. I didn't work for this $1,200. This is sick. This is crazy. And so then I said, this is some good stuff here. Then one time, I'm 24, 25 years old. I'm at church. One of my guys that I recruited that used to sell Forex, he was a Series 3 licensed guy. He would sell futures and, commodities. He goes on an appointment with another lady who is today the chief scientist, I think, at IBM, brilliant lady named Solmaz. They go on an appointment. She sells a $6,000 Target premium insurance policy. And my broker calls me and says, what did you do the last 2 hours? I said, I'm at church. She says, well, you just made $1,200. I said, no, you don't make money when you go to church. You lose money because you have to tithe. He said, no. You just made $1,200. I said, how? Remember when you introduced this person and this person, they both got licensed? Yes. Well, they just sold this policy. And you, as the one that has a spread, you made this much money. I said, no way. So I learned about investing, and I learned about building a business of leveraging other people's efforts as well to work collectively together. So listen, what Logan Paul is saying, Jake Paul got interviewed the other day. They asked him, they said, who's richer? Jake said, I'm probably richer today. He says, but the day Prime sells, Logan's going to be a lot richer than me. There is nothing more exciting than when I run into people that are wearing this gear, Merry Christmas, boldly. Mario's been wearing this every day, wherever he's going, the VT gear here, the future looks bright. And when you open it up here, it says future looks bright. I love seeing the future looks bright hat that Tom's got on, or you got the faith over fear gear. Record-breaking number of people are wearing the merch gear that we have with us. And there's some massive announcements that I'll be making here very, very soon to you guys, what our plans are going into 2026 with this of VT merch. We want tens of millions of people to represent this gear. My suggestion to you, wear these things boldly. If you support our brand, you like what we do, you don't want us to take money from Qatar or some of these other organizations that are coming and offering money to own podcasts and shows, I highly recommend you support brands that are able to give their opinions and thoughts freely. And if you believe the future looks bright like we do, I am certain the future looks bright. Let me give you guys a crazy story. In 1997, Apple did $816 million of losses. Their top line revenue in 1997, they lost $816 million in 1997. Today, Apple makes $1.1 billion per day.
Wow.
They lost $1 billion in a year in 97. Today, they make $1.1 billion a day. They believe the future looks bright. Now they're a $4 trillion organization. For us, for some of you guys that may be celebrating Christmas, and honestly, maybe things weren't going right for you. Maybe I've had the Christmas when I'm sitting, I'm like, is anything going to turn around for me? Is life going to change at all? Like, is this how it's going to be? What am I going to get my break? You know that feeling how like you feel like, man, like you're carrying a lot, like the feeling of you go to Christmas and everybody's giving gifts. And it's like that one movie, 4 Christmases, where Dallas, Denver, all the brothers come in, and Vince Vaughn is the big brother that's making all this money now. And he brings the recent Xbox and he brings all this stuff. And he says, did you not see the minimum of $10 and the other guy a flashlight? I don't know if you guys remember that scene. Sometimes that may be the Christmas. Things are not going right for you. Yesterday, Vinny was sharing a story with me, which is an incredible, incredible story that I want to share with you guys, which is what we believe in. Have you ever heard of a guy named Jack Strauss? You ever heard of Jack Strauss? Can you do me a favor, Humberto? Type in Jack Strauss, then put poker. Jack Strauss, Strauss, and type in poker. Craziest story of Jack Strauss. One day, Jack Strauss in 1982, this man that Humberto is about to pull up his picture because Humberto is so fast and quick and phenomenal. This guy's playing poker. This guy's playing poker in 1982. He's in a World Series poker tournament, okay? Right there. That man right there. Zoom in a little bit. He's in the 1982 World Series poker. You know the big tournament that people win $10 million? In 1982, that guy right there is getting off the table because he called all in and he has no chips left. He's thinking. He gets up to leave. And then all of a sudden they say, no, Jack, you have one last $500 chip left. He says, you're kidding me. They said, no. All right. I mean, you only got one chip left, $500, which is what? Nothing. He takes the $500 chip and he keeps doubling it and doubling it and doubling it and doubling it. You know what ends up happening to him? He wins the flipping 82 World Series poker.
Wow.
Did you hear the story? Well, some of you are watching this. You're like, dude, I'm down to my last chip. I'm trying to figure life out. I went all into my business. I took money out of my 401k. My wife and I wanted to start a restaurant. We did this. This Christmas was rough. We stayed home. We didn't go anywhere. We got some basic gifts, $10 Amazon gift cards. Life can turn around if you think long-term. That's what we believe in. That's what happened to every single one of us because we believe the future looks bright. So if you believe the future looks bright, and you support our brand, go to vtmerch.com, place an order for yourself, whether it's the Merry Christmas gear, whether it's the Future Looks Bright, Faith Over Fear, or the shoes, FLB. We're excited about big plans we got in 2026, and I'll tell you more about it in the first week that we do the podcast in January of 2026.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.